Oh, are we good? Oh, we're on. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Lunch Break with ATI. This is our weekly podcast. I'm Cindy Collins, one of the co-founders here at Actors Theater of Indiana, the resident professional theater company at the Center for the Performing Arts right here in good old Carmel, Indiana, USA. And today, I am proud to say that our guest is Dr. Anita Joshi. And Dr. Joshi is running for City Council. We've been having on the past few weeks the candidates on both parties, Republican and Democrat, who are running for the City Council, which is coming up faster. Election Day, November 7th, is coming up faster than we think. All of a sudden it'll be here. So everybody's really digging in with their campaigns right now. And so we've had a good amount of people on, and I'm so glad that you are on today. It's really great to have you.
Well, and I appreciate the invitation to come.
Oh, are you kidding? Absolutely. I'm going to get to one of the most important things to talk about, that you are a native of New Jersey.
I am a native of New Jersey, born and raised in Jersey, and very proud of my roots.
Yeah, likewise. So, Union?
No, I was actually, so I was born and raised in primarily East Hanover, New Jersey.
Oh my God, Route 10, right up Route 10.
That's right,
Yes.
Route 10, New Jersey.
Oh my God.
East Hanover.
Yeah.
I went to Hanover Park High School, graduated from there, and then moved up to Connecticut, where I went to college. So I went to Trinity College in Connecticut, and then went to medical school at the University of Connecticut, and did my training at Connecticut Children's Medical Center. So, yeah. It was a really great time for me.
What made now your parents came into the country. They are
So my parents
they were not born here. They are
my
immigrants.
parents emigrated from India in 1967. And so they have been in the U.S. longer than they ever were in India. Yeah. My father was in England prior to that time for a short period of time, and then moved to the United States.
Yeah. What made them pick Jersey? I mean,
so
I
father,
would, but what
Well, my father got his first job as an auditor with General Cable Corporation, and they were located in New Jersey, and so that gave him the opportunity to come to the U.S. and come to New Jersey.
Okay.
So.
Well, I was brought up in Livingston.
Oh, Livingston Mall. Yes, the Livingston Mall. For those who don't realize, people from New Jersey love their malls. They love shopping. And back in the day, the mall was the place to hang out and connect with your friends and have a great time.
Yes, it's true. It's true. Everybody, went to the mall. And I grew up actually right around the corner.
Well, that must have been a lot of traffic and a lot of busy.
So, yeah, but they're tearing it down. It's going away.
Yeah.
They're leveling the whole thing. I think even Macy's, because Macy's was there first, and then they built the mall onto Macy's. Yeah. Because I remember when Macy's was built. That was it. But it's going. Yeah. It's getting leveled. I don't know what's going on, but I was just home I was home just like a few months ago, and they're taking it down. It's going. Yeah. I'm not sad it's going.
No, and things change. I mean, and I think that's part of life is that things are always changing.
Yeah, it's true.
But now I feel like this is home. I've been out of New Jersey for a long, long time, out of Connecticut for a long time, so I kind of feel like Carmel's home.
Yeah, I think I've heard that before. People move here and they stay.
Yes.
They stay and they're like, well, this is my home now.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. You have to be proud of where you're from. I'm proud to be a New Jersey native myself.
Of course.
You can't take and I do. Carmel is fantastic. I mean, listen. Clearly, it's one of the best places in the country to live.
Absolutely.
And I personally think it's the best place in Indiana to live, personally. But I have my strong ties to my home state and New York, of course, because But so what made? Let me ask you this, and because you are a pediatrician.
I am.
Okay, and a very, very good one.
Thank you.
What made you say, oh my gosh, I need to run? I must run.
Yeah.
I must.
I think, for me, it's been kind of a long journey of service over time.
Mm-hmm.
So along with my pediatric practice, I have always served on other boards. I have always served in some capacity giving back to the community. I think that was something I was raised with. My parents were very, very strong supporters of things like the JCs and the PTA and the firefighters, pancake breakfasts. And so my dad and my mom both were very much about, if you have been given something, then it is your responsibility to give back to a community. So those are the values that I was raised with.
Yeah, likewise.
And so because of that, I think I've always gotten involved. And so I was involved with different boards throughout in and around the city. So Center for Interfaith Cooperation, things like the Brebeuf Jesuit Board, the Women's Fund of Central Indiana, working for women and girls, looking at, even a board that's relatively new. We actually were on the founding board of Riley for Women. So Women for Riley, actually. It was called Women for Riley. And that was the very... we got together, and it was an amazing experience to actually bring in the cancer prom here for Riley Children's Hospital. So I've always kind of worked on causes that are important to me and that I feel genuinely connected to. And I love Carmel. And the truth is, I love the city. I think it's a great place.
You have to put yourself out there like this.
Yeah, you do. And I think that this gave me an opportunity to serve at a different level. I think, it was just sort of a natural extension of doing some of the work that I did. I got more interested in politics, I think, when the hate crimes legislation came up in Indiana. And I testified on the floor of the legislature for that bill. Worked on that with amazing people in both parties that we worked with to try to get this bill passed. It wasn't passed exactly the way I think I would have liked to have seen it.
Well, that happens.
It happens.
That's the way usually things happen.
And I think, we keep trying, and I think the important thing is that people do care, and they speak out, and they speak passionately about what they believe in, and I think that was important to me. So as I got involved in that process, that's kind of what opened me up to the idea of serving more in a a governmental format. So
in a larger capacity.
Yeah.
You're getting on the city council.
Yes.
You guys are running the joint. Or trying. You are. With the citizens. You and the citizens are running the city.
That's it. We represent you. So the job really should be about truly representing the voices of the community and of the city. And I think if you have people who believe that authentically and really want to represent that, then they will do a good job of doing that.
Well, like I'm saying, it's a true civil servant position. It's
absolutely.
not, and I do kind of believe in the local politics, that if you're running, because the federal is, we know what that's going, we know what's going on there, and we know what that's like, and that's been people running for a political office for years being like, it's about me, and feeling important. But I think on the local level, I think most of the time, it is that you truly, truly care about the community you live in and truly want to serve.
It's not about me at all. And as a matter of fact, it's about the community. And so, and for me, I'm actually running for the West District.
Yes.
So it's really about what are the needs of the people in my district? Right. What are the things that they're concerned about? And kind of making sure that that voice is brought up to the level of city council. And to be able to have their voices heard, I think is super important.
What are you hearing from the people? And now, look, you're going door to door. I mean, everybody's going door to door.
Yeah.
What are you hearing from the people in that district? The most important. What do you think is the most?
People are concerned about the amount of building that's been going on. I think they are. I hear those questions all the time. Yeah. I think people are also very concerned about the feeling that they have of a lack of transparency. When they ask questions, they feel like they don't always get the answer from the people that are, serving. Yes. And so I think that has been a concern for some people. Yeah. I think people just want to make sure that Carmel's amazing quality of life is preserved, and that we get to, as you said, this is an amazing place. You would recommend this to be the best place to live in Indiana. I would concur with that completely. I would. And so I think that we want to make sure that it stays that way. And we want to make sure that we are also looking to make it even better, right? Yeah. And so the sustainability of what we're doing is, I think, the key.
Keeping the level it is at now, and of course then moving it forward.
Right, exactly. Because building, and building is important, but there's a limit to everything in the world. Nothing is without limits. None of us as human beings are without limits.
I know. And would you say, and talking about that, because I know everybody's saying that, people are concerned about the construction.
Well, I think
and all the apartments that are going up, and that's going to cause more traffic within the city. I
think the bigger issues for me are also not just the traffic concerns, but the water supply, looking at the energy needs, looking at how do we make sure that our children, because as a pediatrician, I do think about that next generation, how do we make sure that these kids have, clean water and clean air and, soil that's competent to grow things in, and how do we work on that at the same time as, knowing that we need housing and we need businesses and we need people to thrive in their community.
Well, that's the thing. Like when corporations come in, people need a place to live, and you need the corporations to be here.
100%.
I agree. And people need a place to live, and some people can't afford a home; they have to live in an apartment, and that's just the way it is. I was an apartment dweller for years in New York. I mean, for years, and I never bought a condo or an apartment or anything. I rented. And sometimes that's just life. That's just what you got to do. I am certainly not opposed to that in any way, because I think it helps. Well, I think it helps diversity. I think it helps the city grow. I think it helps with money. I think it helps the merchants. I think it helps with the arts. With this, what we have over here, the center, So for people to come see live, the live performing arts.
Well, and I do want to say, I think what you guys have built here is really tremendous. Honestly, having a not-for-profit that focuses on live performing theater in a city like Carmel, I think is critically important. I think we have to support the performing arts. Yeah. This is one of the reasons why people enjoy coming out in Carmel is because we have so many offerings from so many different types of groups that are presenting the arts in a multitude of ways. And all of those ways resonate with people differently. And so I think it is really important.
It's variety. And if you're a city, you have to have variety in many different ways, not just the arts, but you have to have a variety of everything.
Yeah.
And I do think that is, of course, I think it's extremely important because a lot of time the arts are thought of as not a necessity. It's not a necessity. It's a necessity. Healthcare is a necessity. Fixing my streets a necessity. Keeping everything looking nice is a necessity. Keeping crime down is a necessity. This is everywhere. I'm not just talking about Carmel.
Right.
So the arts are not a necessity. Well, the arts are a necessity because the arts help all those things stay in check.
Exactly. Okay. I think if you are allowing for people to express themselves in the natural gifts that they were given, and you have a way to express those gifts and an outlet for those in your community, then you're going to feel fulfilled. Your mental health is going to be better, and I think then you are going to be a more productive member of society, and you're not going to look for other ways to, create name for yourself.
Or problems. With kids, too. With kids. I mean, either the visual arts or the performing arts, every school, and I do commend Carmel High School.
Yes, they do a tremendous job.
Are exceptional. Our daughter was in all 4 years, the choirs, and the show choirs, and the everything. So it's. I think that gives a kid. The arts teaches a kid almost a lot they need to learn in life.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're going to be a performer at all.
Absolutely.
It's not the point. That's not the point at all. The point is to give that kid confidence, working with others, responsibility, respect, all those things.
And how to improvise when things don't quite go exactly the way that they were meant to go.
And keep your brain working, learning music, learning lines, learning script, memorization, keeps the brain active,
Absolutely.
Keeps dancing, keeps you physically fit, because not everybody wants to do sports.
Right.
Which are great.
I think that's what makes a community special, though, right? Is that we have an amazing sports and athletic complex. Carmel High School, again, achieves athletics at the highest levels and also achieves the arts at the highest levels. And when you do everything with a desire for excellence, which means you have expectations from your kids and your community that raise everybody up, I think the whole community benefits from that because no one is being left out. And if no one is left out, everyone is going to function better, and that's going to create a safer, more secure community in general. So, yeah, I think community safety, of course. There is no one running for city council that doesn't believe that our police department and our fire department, which are by far the most excellent police department and fire department they're in and around central Indiana.
Oh, gosh. Are you kidding? I mean, Chief
shouldn't
Dave
be funded.
Caboot,
we all believe that. We all believe that they should get the tools they need to do the job. There's no one that feels that way. But it will make their job easier if we have kids who are engaged in activities that they feel are good for them, so that they're not out finding other ways to create, places that they belong. And those places may not always be, the best, I think. So it's important that they have outlets. And I think for kids, mental health is really important for them to have outlets. It's really important for them to have green spaces to run around.
I agree with that too, with the green space. So what do you think about that with green space in Carmel? I mean, should there be more green space in Carmel?
Well, I think there should always be more green space. I do. I mean, I think that the Parks Department here is tremendous. They've done an amazing job. I think we have obviously award-winning parks, but we need to think about how we move through that in the future, because we have to preserve those things. It's very easy to sort of say, well, that's a secondary thing. Like you were saying, the arts is secondary to, I think, again, things go hand in hand, and you have to work on preserving your air and your water and your land.
And the trees, and having,
the trees
that
the
help
air,
with
right?
help with the oxygen. Yeah, exactly. Because what I was going to say is, when people come in with corporations, and the city wants the money. You want the money, right? You want the corporations.
We need it to provide the services to our community.
You want to build, and you want people to. But sometimes, this is just me personally, what I think. Sometimes the green spaces aren't as much of the money coming in. You know what I mean? So that's why maybe, that's secondary. That's not going to bring in the big bucks.
No, but I think it's quality of life, right? I think when people come to Carmel, they are looking for the total package. They are looking for the quality of life that this city can represent. And that quality of life includes being able to run trails and ride your bike and do the things that we want to do to stay physically fit and healthy.
Right.
One of the problems we have in Indiana is our, physical health is ranked closer to the bottom of many states. Our obesity levels are higher than many states. We don't rank highly in our health and wellness. And I think green spaces are an integral part of making sure that we rank better. So when we say Carmel's great, it is great. Can it be better? It can be that like space where people say, hey, we can achieve both. It's not, I think many, many times when we come into the public sphere and talk about public services, people give you false equivalencies. They give you false choices. They say, if you're going to support this, that means you're going to take money away from this. I understand that we have to balance budgets. I've done it my whole life. I run my own practice. I'm not working for a hospital. I run the business. I know what it takes to do that, and I do it well. But I think sometimes we set people up to argue against each other when, in fact, we don't need to do that. There are ways to support both. There are ways to work with corporations to actually have them participate in funding some of these initiatives. Just like they do with the arts. So they fund other things as well because it benefits them and they see the value of it. And so I think having people that can bring a variety of diverse, different ideas to a table and have good conversation that's respectful and that hears one another, I think is where you get the best decisions. So,
and I think that the city council, I think that's totally doable. Everyone I've spoken to this whole time, the people who are running again, and all the newbies. And there's a lot of newbies, okay, which I think is fantastic. Not to say anything, it's just good because it's It's fresh, and it's new, and it's fresh ideas, and it's different ideas, and there's obviously a turnover with Jim Brainerd leaving, Mayor Brainerd leaving, and going to be a new mayor, and there's nothing wrong with any of that. I think that's great. I think that's a good kind of progress, taking his vision, keeping it moving forward with other new visions. I think that's so important. But with the green space, going back, I think that is extremely important in an area to have that. And people just get out and walk in a safe place and not worry about the traffic. Get out and just take a walk. Get out and do anything they want, with your kids, even in that green space. You look at, you look at New York, and you look at Central Park. It's one of the best parks in the world. It is. It is. And look at that park smack dab in the middle of Manhattan. And it is so important to that city. There is so much going on in that park.
Always. And I think we see that in Carmel.
And I think that's just as important anywhere, no matter how big a city is or small. Because Carmel is a city.
Well, and if you look at it from an economic perspective, people say, well, it's not, economic. I think it is. I think if you have better healthcare outcomes for your populace, you are providing health insurance for your city workers. If they have places to be where they can be healthier and we can promote that positive health for everybody, I think you're going to have less expense in healthcare, and that's going to reduce your costs. So there's economic benefits to this that people sometimes don't think about in a straightforward way, but I think if for somebody like me who's done this for a long time, I see the benefits of that really play out. So you can tell when you have that, and mental health care is as important as physical health care, and we've learned that now. And so I think if we can promote that in our city, I think we're going to be amazing. We can be amazing leaders in that too.
And I know, of course, with Carmel, and the reason, and we live here, Judy Fitzgerald, the artistic director, my partner, we live here in Carmel. And our daughter Lizzie was raised in Carmel through the Carmel school system, which is excellent. One of the other reasons I like it is because everybody's pretty cool here. I have, me personally, I've never seen any all-out hatred. I know there is hate everywhere. There is. You can't get away from that. But I think that is at a low.
And
there are people that are prejudiced, and there are people that are.
I think it is the responsibility of public servants to always try to bring people together and to try to create compassionate communities. That is a public good. It is a public service. And if you are a public servant, you should be working in that vein all the time. It is so, so difficult to build a business, to build a practice, to build a family. It takes nothing to destroy that. It takes a few nasty things. It takes a few inflaming people's emotions. It's very, very easy to do, and it's cheap. But it's not necessarily what leadership is about. I think leadership is about saying, I understand, I hear you, I want you to hear and understand another perspective, and let's try to figure out how we can make everybody better and everybody thrive. And that takes the ability to put your own personal ego secondary. And I know people don't think about that when they go into politics. They think it's all about the political ego, my way, my thing. It's not. You're a public servant.
Yes.
And that was the way that the founders intended this to be. It was that we were public servants. And so one of the other reasons I got into this was to show that truly that vision is not dead, that vision exists, and that it can be fulfilled by people who care and want to genuinely serve and don't really need the job. As you alluded to, my practice has been successful, and I have been doing it for 25 years.
Well, you're good at what you do. I mean, so obviously you care about what you do, and you're good at what you do. Right.
And I have great staff that helps me to do it.
Right.
And I can still do other things at the same time. I think sometimes the criticism is, oh, well, she has a private practice. How is she going to be able to do both of these things? I've done both of these things and raise my children and have a successful 30-year marriage and do all of this at the same time.
Hi, you're a woman. Let's just say it right there. You're a woman. Okay? Thank you very much. And mic drop. But, so, I mean, come on. Everybody who is on the council, everybody has jobs. Everybody has a business. Everybody who's running for the city council, everyone does,
exactly. And
so of course you'll make the time.
Of course. And I think the other thing is that you realize that the busiest people in the world are the ones who seem to get the most done.
If you're busier, you have to get everything done because
and you're busy because you can get things done because people keep counting on you to do them.
Right, exactly. And I agree with that. You have to become more organized, and you got to get all that done. I know, I agree. Real quick, you have 3 kids.
I have 2 kids.
2.
Well, I have 3, and my husband would correct me. We have a beautiful dog, and I think that's the third one.
That's the third child.
but we have 2 children that I gave birth to.
That would be something.
Yeah.
So, and the dog did not go to Brebeuf, but your kids went to Brebeuf.
Yes, they did.
Right, and you know my
I think it was the right
sister-in-law.
choice for my children.
Yeah.
And again, I love the Carmel Public Schools. That is not about that, but I think every parent has to make the choice for their child as to what will work for them. But
yeah, exactly. That's the same with my sister, Judy's sister, Susan Bonanno. 2 of her kids went to Brebeuf. Yep. 1 went to Carmel High Schools, 2 went to Brebeuf,
and they were friends with my kids.
That's right, and 2 went to Brebeuf, and the kids almost chose that.
Yeah,
they asked to go. Yeah. Because it was right for them. Smaller. Yeah. They needed a smaller environment. Yeah. But yet their oldest went to Carmel High School and loved it. Yeah. You're right. It has to do with the kid. Absolutely. And I think Brebeuf is a wonderful school. I think talk about open-mindedness and diversity. I think that's a great.
Brebeuf has
they've really stood up for some stuff, and I respect that.
And sitting on the board, I can tell you those were great conversations where, again, I think true leadership is about bringing people together to be able to make the right decision for everyone.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to wrap it up. Dr. Anita Joshi, she is running for the City Council West District.
Yes.
I say it every time. It doesn't matter who you vote for. It does, but get out and vote. No matter the individual or you're voting for the party, get out and vote.
And early voting.
I was just going to say the early voting's out.
Starts today.
Yeah.
Early voting starts today in Carmel. Mm-hmm. You have been able to early vote since November 11th at the county courthouse, but many people don't want to drive that far. So for those of us who live in Carmel, today. And I will be out there saying hello, so please come out and say hi.
Yeah, and just get out. Just do your part as a citizen and vote. That's something wonderful we have here in this country.
100%.
So get out and do it. And also for ATI, coming up this Saturday, October 28th, is ATI's Greatest Hits Volume 2 for one evening in the Studio Theater. Yes. That kicks off the season for ATI. And it is some past performers coming back and performing some of the numbers that they did in some past productions. So we have some great people coming back. I'll be performing. And we'll see about it. Yeah, I hope it's a yay. And Judy Fitzgerald will be performing, and we have some wonderful other past performers coming in. Darren Murrell and Kenny Shepard and Tim Hunt and Deborah Hill, and we're doing songs from Working and Dirty Rotten Scoundrels and My Fair Lady and Nonsense. Suzanne Stark will be doing a number. So if you haven't gotten tickets or if you're interested, go to our website, atistage.org, or call the box office, 317-843-3800. Get your tickets, one night only this Saturday, and I think it's going to be a pretty great show. Thank you so much for joining us, Lunch Break with ATI, Dr. Joshi, and thank you so much, New Jersey native, and East Hanover, woo! Route 10! And thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.